This is a mysterious pill that gives you superpowers for 5 minutes. After taking it, if you had superpowers, what would you do? He is Bob. He got up late in the morning and left the house in a hurry. The streaking in the early morning may be to better absorb the aura of the world. He disappeared in the next second, and the police were shocked. Bob robbed a bank while escaping. He kept changing the color of his body to cover up himself. But as more and more police cars surrounded him, he had no choice but to snatch a bicycle and flee on the road, then hid in the bus. Opening the purse, a lot of pink powder exploded out with a bang. It turned out that this was a trap set by the police. Bob got out of the car quickly, but was knocked over by a car, leaving him unharmed. Bert, the policeman, also caught up with him. The two wrestled together. Bob picked up the pistol and pulled the trigger. The bullet hit Bert as if hitting the surface of the water. Bert quickly restrained Bob and kept hitting Bob in the face until Bob found out. The sheriff saw all this and asked Bert to hand over his gun and police badge after returning to the police station. The reason why Bert is so powerful is because he took a prohibited drug. A drug $500. As long as you take it, you can randomly unlock various superpowers, such as fire breathing, infinite power, and freezing thousands of miles. But this medicine is also risky, and if you are not lucky, will explode to pieces in an instant. Sheriff reprimanded Bert for knowing the law and breaking the law. And now he is officially fired. If he wants to return to the police station, he has to arrest the boss of the manufacturer. The person in the photo is David, a veteran, and he enters a residential house. There are a lot of superpower pills in the corner, but there is no one guarding them. He searched along the corridor and found a big hole in the ground. He jumped down and saw a person with burn marks all over his body. David just wanted to talk to him. After a few conversations, he knew his name was Ellis. But then Ellis ran for the door. David knew that he had found the right person and chased after him. Seeing that there was no way to retreat, Ellis swallowed the super potion and the energy gushed out instantly. Ellis was completely covered by the flames. Surrounded by crowds, David quickly dodged to dodge and then shot him away with a spray gun. The power of the superpower drug was terrifying. The two wrestled together, and David couldn't escape to the next floor. Ellis followed closely. At that moment, Ellis' energy was exhausted. In order to catch David, he swallowed 3 more superpower potions, and the flames immediately boiled. David ran to the bathroom, turned on the shower when Ellis came over. He covered Ellis' head and pressed him down. David pressed E in the bathtub and asked where did he get the super drug. Only then did Ellis understand that David was not the boss, and he had been looking for the source of the superpower medicine. At this moment, Ellis, who had taken too much medicine, could no longer control the energy in his body and was blown to pieces in the next second. Fortunately, David took Ellis' cell phone at a critical moment. David's daughter Betty was given superpowers because she inherited from her father. The drug developer found out this and took her aways. In order to rescue her, David has been investigating the source of the super drug. At this time, David was looking for clues with his mobile phone. Suddenly, he received a message that someone was looking for the owner of the phone to get the pills. David rushed to the designated place. It turned out that Dinah was the little black girl who came to hand over, but David dragged her to the car. It turned out that Dinah was Ellis's cousin and often helped Ellis sell super potions, but she didn't know to whom Ellis asked for medicine. David didn't believe and threatened her. Dinah said that Ellis had told her to go to a supermarket when in trouble. When came to the supermarket, Dinah went in and was taken to a hidden office by the people inside. Dinah confessed that there was a tough man who had been following her outside. Ford swallowed a super pill and fought with David when he went out. He was subdued by David without a few tricks. David walked into the office and found that there were many positionings on the computer in front of him, constantly testing and improving. The super drug is almost perfect. The next night, the behind the scenes will hold a superpower pill exhibition to attract more people to invest so that they can better develop the super pills. At this time, Ford suddenly moved and all the bullets on his body bounced out of his body. It turned out that his superpower is self-healing. After the two fought fiercely in the supermarket for several rounds, David stabbed the knife into Ford's body until the superpower of the medicine wore off. David passed out when he left with his hands on his wound. When he woke up again, he had already been taken to a pet shop. Dinah stitched up the wound for him, and the two were talking, knowing that Dinah is not a bad person. Selling superpowers is just to earn some money to treat her mother's illness. David also confessed everything to her in order to thank her for saving his life. It turns out that David is a major in the army, who has made countless contributions to the army. A mysterious company used David's army to conduct biochemical experiments. After taking the pills, the soldiers went out of control and killed many innocent people. Finally, the experiment had to be terminated. Only David survived. A few years later, David got married and gave birth to a daughter. Slowly, he found that something was wrong with her daughter. Not only had she never been sick, she was also very strong. It turned out that the residual superpower in David's body was passed on to her. The mysterious company found out and caused a car accident, kidnapped David's daughter, and used her blood to mass-produce super pills again. Dinah sympathized with David's experience and helped him go to the pill exhibition. Jeff was deliberating about super pills and asked a beauty to take them. After a while, her body began to radiate cold air and quickly froze. It turned out that after taking the pill, the beauty gained the superpower of temperature regulation. Everyone was surprised. Just as everyone was indulging in it, a woman screaming, David jumped out and held Jeff hostage and began to ask him about the location of the experimental base. At this time, his subordinates took a superpower pill, which exploded on the spot because of its strong effect. The scene was chaotic. Afterwards, Jeff revealed that their experiments were carried out on a cruise ship named Genesis. At this moment, the policeman Bob broke in. He still thought that David was the source of the superpower drug. During the dispute between the two, Jeff swallowed a super pill. Jeff's body swelled rapidly and turned into a giant. Seeing the dangerous situation, the two ran away. While retreating, David exploded the gas beside him. With the loud explosion, the three escaped. Bob caught David into the police car. On the way back to the police station, David patiently explained that all this is a conspiracy of the mysterious company, and their boss has been bribed long ago. If they too went back, they will definitely become guinea pigs in the experiment. At this time, the boss sent a text message asking Bob to stop immediately and stay where he is. Bob was a little shaken. He saw that David's eyes didn't seem to be lying to him, so he decided to believe in David. After a while, a large number of police arrived, but Bob had disappeared. They took David and sent him to the Genesis cruise ship. Bob has been following behind and met Dinah, who was waiting. After discussing, the two decided to sneak into the cruise ship to rescue David. When they came to the control room, Bob asked Dinah to stay here, and he went to join David. On the other side, David met the creator of the superpower pills, which turned out to be a woman named Hannah. She asked two special forces to lock David at the bottom of the cabin and keep him under strict watch. At the same time, a bald man noticed something strange in the control room. After taking a super pill, he kicked open the heavy iron door with all his strength and found no one inside. It turned out that just a few minutes ago, Dinah found David's daughter Betty on the monitor, then escaped from the ventilation duct and found her in the laboratory. There were two obvious scars on her back. It seemed that those people had drawn Betty's blood to make the super medicine. Dinah took her and ran away, but they didn't find the place Betty touched. All the plants came back to life at the same time. Bob also rescued David with the cooperation of the two. He killed the bald head. When they rushed to the bow, the father and daughter were finally reunited, and they decided to escape in a lifeboat, but David found that Dinah was missing. At this time, Hannah's voice came from the deck, telling them to come out immediately, or they would kill Dinah. David left the last super pill in his hand, and the terrified Betty didn't want him to take it. But David went to the deck and swallowed the pill regardless of the obstruction. A huge energy exploded in David's body. He let out a roar, and the surrounding bullet rain or special forces were all reduced to ashes in an instant. David fainted from exhaustion after releasing the energy. No matter how much he shouted, there was no response. At this moment, Betty ran over and covered David's face with her hands after a burst of energy emanated from her body. David came alive come over, it turns out that Betty's superpower is resurrection. David is going to take Betty to start a new life. Before leaving, he hugs Dinah and leaves his car to her. There is still a heavy gift in the trunk. Dinah's mother was saved.